Oh, unbelievable. 20 plus cars under a blanket, 5 of the top 6 desperate for a win. They used to call Kevin Harvick the closer. After tonight, I'm calling Ryan Blaney the Dream Crusher. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to another late night out of the groove. Daytona regular season finale delivers. A good Daytona next gen race in the big 2025. Am I dreaming? So much to get to tonight. The playoff grid is set. So many hearts were broken. Alex Bowman's heart was probably thumping out of his chest on that final lap. Probably felt like he was in the middle of that 4-wide fight sitting on his couch. The regular season comes to a climactic close. Let's just start with the finish. I could talk about all the things set the stage, but let's just get to those final 2-3 laps. Go back a few laps, okay? I loved the way this race was shaping up. Restart with 8 laps to go. On the front row, you had the odd couple of Erik Jones and Justin Haley, 2 former summer Daytona winners, desperate for a race win to salvage what's otherwise been a disappointing season. But behind them, in the outside lane, you had Hendrick teammates Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. Behind Justin Haley, you had Roush teammates Ryan Preece and Chris Buescher. I was watching row 2 carefully, waiting to see which pair of teammates would hang the leader of their lane out to dry. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback this, but the first pivotal moment at the end of this race came when Ryan Preece jumped into that outside lane, leaving his teammate Chris Buescher behind. Erik Jones got shuffled out in the same move, but Preece got to the outside. Yay, he's leading the outside. That's good. That's great. But then you look in your mirror and you got Larson and Elliott, Hendrick teammates behind you who sure as hell aren't going to push a rival Ford to the win. They're not going to push a Ford to the lead that knocks out their teammate Alex Bowman. Again, hindsight is 20/20. Easy for me to say sitting here on my couch at home, but Ryan Preece making that move when his teammate Chris Buescher wasn't clear to go with him felt a little impatient. I think he made that move a bit too soon, and it wound up biting him because then the second big moment of that final stretch was when, predictably, the 2 Hendrick cars decided to hang Ryan Preece out to dry. That stalled out the outside lane, killed their momentum, sent Preece to the back, and that's when the third big moment arrived. As soon as Ryan Preece got split, suddenly this third lane, led by Cole Custer and Ryan Blaney, had a huge head of steam. The lead pack got jumbled up. This outside lane came a-flying. That's what got Cole Custer into the picture, and that's what got Ryan Blaney to the front. The inside lane, more organized, pushes Justin Haley to the lead. He has to block Cole Custer down the backstretch. That was borderline. Ryan Blaney still with the head of steam. Obviously, that Penske power under the hood. Takes the lead, coming to the checkered, and holds off a hungry, desperate pack of racers. I can't get over these images. 4 wide at Daytona to finish it. Ryan Blaney gets the win, and that is huge because not only is it Blaney's 3rd win of the season, he also clinched the 2nd place regular season points finish. That's worth a total of 10 additional playoff points beginning next week at Darlington. Ryan Blaney winning is huge, but by doing so, he crushed the dreams of several drivers in this picture. Start with Daniel Suarez, who earlier this season learned that he would be losing his seat at Trackhouse, the team he helped build over the past 5 years. Daniel Suarez without a ride for 2026 as things currently stand. He could have won his way into the playoffs. It's a pretty damn good way to audition for your next role. Next to him, Justin Haley. The Athletic reported a few weeks ago that Justin Haley's seat is hotter than anyone's seat in the Cup Series. Haley has not performed as well as his 2 other Spire Motorsports teammates, but he was a few feet away from winning his way into the playoffs, something his 2 teammates have also failed to do this season. And on the inside, Cole Custer. A couple years ago, a lot of fans wrote him off. Sure, he's a former Xfinity Series champion, didn't do much with Stewart-Haas his first Cup Series stint. Now Haas factory team, the remains of the once great Stewart-Haas. There's rumors that team could get bought out at years, and no one expects them to contend to be in this picture. And some of the guys just behind. Erik Jones, mentioned him earlier, former Daytona winner. He's had to rebuild his career in that 43 car, former Southern 500 winner, two-time Southern 500 winner. After a horrible 2024, Legacy Motor Club was this close to stamping their 2025 a success. And Chris Buescher, last guy I'll mention in this picture, RFK Racing just got shut out of the playoffs entirely. A couple of years ago, Chris Buescher was a three-time winner, was in the round of 8, and now he's not in the playoffs. He's missed back-to-back playoffs, as a matter of fact. Brad Keselowski missed. Ryan Preece, solid first year with the team, missed. A couple of years ago, it looked like RFK Racing was about to break into that elite tier with the Hendricks, the Penske's, the Gibbs. Now they're out of the playoffs entirely, winless on the season. They were so close tonight to changing that narrative. This photo, these images are insane. Ryan Blaney, the dream crusher. It's so interesting to me how Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, two recent Cup champions, the faces of Team Penske, they race these super speedways completely different. Joey Logano wants to control the race. As the laps wound down tonight, Logano was on an island, the only Penske car in the top 10, blocking 2-3 lanes. Anytime someone would get clear of him, he would regroup, settle in, charge back to the front. Joey Logano was not content to run second for even a lap. Always on offense, super aggressive. Ultimately, it bit him, though, as he got loose and spun out in front of the pack there with 10 laps to go. But that's what opened the door for Ryan Blaney, who played things so much more conservative tonight, topping off for gas, hanging back, waiting for the leaders to potentially settle down. When the outside lane got jumbled up, Blaney saw his opportunity and pushed Cole Custer, led that outside lane to the front. He went from, I think they said 13th to 2nd in 2 laps. That's not supposed to be possible with this car. The next-gen car at Daytona, Talladega, we've talked about it. We've seen it for 3-4 years now. Gridlock. So difficult to get a legit third lane going, so difficult to manage gaps, make moves up front, but Ryan Blaney, in the final 2 laps, with help, circumstances, sure, made it happen. Shattered the gridlock narrative tonight. An incredible rally, an incredible charge. I thought the days of hang back, play it safe, be conservative, wait until the last moment to strike, I thought those days were done, a thing of the past. Ryan Blaney said not so fast. 3rd win of the season for Ryan Blaney. Again, he finishes 2nd in the regular season standings behind William Byron. That is remarkable when you remember Blaney has 7 DNFs on the year. He's been caught up in so many crashes, mechanical issues, 7 DNFs, and he's earned enough points to finish 2nd. I said it last week. I don't fully trust Team Penske to be the playoff powerhouse they've been in recent years, but if anyone from that team is about to make a big run, it is Ryan Blaney. They have been so consistently fast at a variety of tracks all year. I don't see them slowing down these next 10 weeks. I'm not buying Josh Berry. They've been consistent this summer, consistently mediocre. Austin Cindric, not a chance. Joey Logano, I'm not feeling it this year. It is an odd-numbered year after all, but Ryan Blaney, if anyone from that Penske powerhouse is going to step up these next 10 weeks, it's going to be Ryan Blaney. Tonight may have been just the beginning. We will look at the upgraded playoff grid heading into the round of 16 in just a few moments, but first a look at tonight's top finishers. Finishing 2nd, Daniel Suarez, oh so close to glory. Justin Haley finishes 3rd, ran a really great race. We know he's a good super speedway racer from his time in the Xfinity series where he won, I think, 4 super speedway races. And at the end of this one, he didn't have a lot of teammate support up front, yet hung in there pretty well. Finishing 4th, Cole Custer, great charge late. He made his move down the backstretch. Justin Haley made an ambitious block. They lived to fight another corner, but they had to watch Ryan Blaney pass them entering that corner. Erik Jones 5th. I've always said he's one of the most underrated super speedway style racers. Gen 6, even the Gen 7 was in the mix late tonight. Beautiful looking paint scheme. Goodness gracious. If he had won this race, I was really looking forward to the race win diecast pre-orders. That would look damn good on a shelf. I don't mean to gloss over Kyle Larson. 6th place run tonight. Won a stage. Kyle Larson has gotten better at super speedway racing. Yes, he's also just gotten luckier. Luck does play a role, but I think his feel for the pack, his his awareness has gone up. Strong sixth for Larson. He did at least play a part in triggering one of the big wrecks earlier in this race, but that's just super speedway racing. Sometimes you're on the good end, sometimes you're on the bad end. Chris Buescher finishes 7th. RFK shut out of the playoffs. Ty Gibbs misses the playoffs in year 3. Made the playoffs as a sophomore. Is there such a thing as like a junior year slump? Oh, it's the junior year jinx. Is that what they call it? You can see the rest of the top 15 right there. I'll give Ross Chastain a mention because he won a stage tonight as well. Actually earned 19 stage points by my count. So really good first half of this race. Respectable top 15 finish. Those are the top finishers. I guess now we should talk about a couple of the huge incidents that knocked out a few key contenders. Entering tonight, the playoff scenario was quite simple. 2 playoff spots were still up for grabs. As long as someone new didn't win this race, both Alex Bowman and Tyler Reddick were going to lock in. But if someone new did win this race and upset the grid, then Bowman and Reddick were separated by 29 points. Bowman needed to beat Reddick by quite a bit. And it looked for a moment like Bowman was gonna make that happen because early in this race, Tyler Reddick gets tight in turn 4, slips up into Todd Gilliland, spins out. Reddick actually makes hard contact with the inside wall, bent the nose. Reddick's team was able to make repairs. They were able to continue, but we never saw Tyler Reddick crack the top 5 or even the top 10, I don't think, the rest of the night. But that narrative died out pretty quick because 28 laps into this race, a huge crash broke out on the front straightaway. It started when Joey Logano got a little tight coming off of turn 4, slipped into the middle. Suddenly they were 4 wide. Kyle Larson bumps Bubba Wallace in the right rear oh so slightly. You can see that points Bubba to the inside a bit. Bubba keeps coming down. He and Logano and Kyle Busch all meet, all come together. Big crash. Bubba Wallace knocked out of the race. Austin Cindric, a favorite coming in, knocked out as well. Alex Bowman, destroyed. Straight to the garage, out of the race. Had to sit, presumably in his motorhome somewhere, and watch the finish on TV like the rest of us, desperately hoping, praying for no new winners. Needed a repeat winner. Ryan Blaney, I guess he crushed some people's dreams. He actually granted Alex Bowman his one wish tonight. Kyle Busch also knocked out as a result of this wreck. Kyle Busch misses the playoffs for the 2nd consecutive season. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. The season started so promising. I don't remember how Daytona went, but then he had like 2 or 3 top 10s in a row. Remember, he almost won Circuit of the Americas very early in the season. Like, this looked like a revitalized Kyle Busch. Looked like Richard Childress Racing maybe had found something to start the year, but then the inconsistency set in. I just looked this up. Kyle Busch, future Hall of Famer, 2-time Cup champ Kyle Busch, has not led a single lap, not one lap, since Kansas back in May. That was 14 races ago. 0 laps led for Kyle Busch. Very disappointing. Disappointing after a relatively promising first month of the 2025 season. Looking back at that big wreck, I know he didn't win this race tonight, but he finished top 5. Justin Haley, with like 3 near misses in this accident, somehow made it through. Huge hit there for a few different contenders. Let's take a look at the playoff grid, the 16 playoff qualifiers. We'll take a look at the points. Kyle Larson and William Byron are tied for the number 1 seed. Byron was the regular season champion, but Larson had an additional win, more stage wins, a lot of playoff points himself. Shane Van Gisbergen there enters the first round of the playoffs with a 16-point cushion. Can he maintain that advantage and get to that round of 12 where there's a road course smack dab in the middle? We'll see. Joey Logano, defending champion, is plus 1 point as things currently stand. And then Alex Bowman, you see him 16th. He sneaks in, last driver on points. I'm glad Alex Bowman made the playoffs. I think he has been one of the top 16 performers this season. Has had a really solid summer stretch, very consistent, but he's done everything but win. Car, I'm glad he made the playoffs, but at some point the expectation in a Hendrick car is that you win, that you contend for the championship, and I'm not sure Alex Bowman is in that position right now. Remember, Alex Bowman, a lot of drivers are on expiring contracts going into next season. Now, I think Ally likes him. Hendrick maybe really likes him. Maybe there is no real contract debate with Alex Bowman, but wouldn't it be nice to put together a solid 10-race playoff run here, give you some momentum heading into those negotiations, those discussions? I'd say so. Those are your 16 NASCAR Cup Series playoff qualifiers. We'll talk about, who gets eliminated when. I'll give you my playoff predictions round by round later this week. For now, I want to talk about a couple drivers who missed. Mention Kyle Busch. That's obviously extremely disappointing. I really don't know what's next for Kyle Busch. Like Alex Bowman, Busch is also on an expiring contract next year. Will he have suitors? Will RCR fight to retain him? Probably. Is there a better landing place for Kyle Busch in his 40s now on a 2+ year winless streak? I'm not so sure. I think Kyle Busch is still better than the cars he's currently driving most weeks, but it's also true he hasn't figured out the next gen car. Car does not naturally suit his hang it out, drive it loose driving style, and he has failed to adapt as well as some others have. We'll see what Kyle Busch's future looks like, but for now, he's back with RCR for another season. Can they get back to victory lane? Can they get back in the playoffs? The work begins now for 2026, in my opinion. I want to talk about Roush Fenway Keselowski for just a moment. I know I talked about them earlier, but that is such a huge bummer. Ryan Preece, Chris Buescher didn't win races this year, have not led many laps, but a lot of top 10s. I mean, Preece, brand new car, new team within RFK. They don't even own that charter. They're leasing it from Rick Ware. To come in there and immediately run top 15, top 10, beyond the playoff bubble all summer, I'd consider that a solid season for Ryan Preece. But Chris Buescher now, he set a higher standard. He had won races, I think, 3 years in a row. I mentioned the 3 wins in 2023 alone. To go winless this regular season, miss the playoffs for the second consecutive season. I keep thinking Roush is this close to breaking back into that top tier of race teams, get one step closer to what they were in their heyday in the mid-2000s when they were a championship contender. A couple years ago, they looked like they were right there. And then this year, Brad Keselowski's team stumbled out the gate. Horrible first 3 months or so. Keselowski and company have turned it on lately, but it was too little too late. And then Preece, Buescher just couldn't quite get over the hump. Shut out of the playoffs, man. I did not see that coming at the start of this year. They've been fine, but fine without a win isn't fine enough, unfortunately. Spire Motorsports also shut out of the playoffs. Michael McDowell made a lot of noise early in this race, but was nowhere to be seen at the end. Carson Hocevar had another engine failure late in this one. Justin Haley was their only hope, and he's the guy on the hot seat. So another team, we know how impatient their owners, their investors are. They expect results. Missing the playoffs this year, no wins thus far. I wouldn't be shocked if we see some more impulsive personnel changes between now and the start of 2026. I just wouldn't be. I'm not saying that's the right call, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see more movement both in front of the camera and behind the scenes over the coming months. Gosh, yeah, there are so many interesting storylines, so much disappointment tonight. Again, this image at the finish. Ryan Blaney wins. The rich get richer. So many hungry hounds right on his heels. Came up just short tonight. Gosh, crazy. Let's talk about this race. This was, I believe, the best Daytona race in the next-gen era. I think so. I've been saying it for years, that NASCAR has a next-gen Daytona Talladega problem. So much drag in the car, gridlocked at full speed. Half the race, 2/3 of the race is fuel saving, which looks okay on camera, 2 and 3 wide, but underneath we know what's really going on. No one's really pushing all that hard. Tonight, with the shorter stages at the beginning, because it's a 400-mile race, combined with the timing of some of the wrecks and the cautions, there wasn't a lot of wasted time in this event. I'd say at least 70% of this race, guys were going almost full speed, almost all out. A little bit of fuel saving here and there, add a little extra to the bank, that's fine, but there was action. There were guys making moves, and I don't know what it was. There was at the end of stage 2, tremendous racing at the end of stage 2. Some of that was you had guys on old tires, guys on new tires mixing it up. I think that played a role in why there was so much movement. But you might also say, the big wreck in stage 1 took a half a dozen or more contenders out. The pack was a little smaller the rest of the night. Remember Atlanta a few weeks ago when that huge wreck took out a lot of cars? Smaller pack, racing was amazing. Something about the smaller pack changes the energy, maybe allows for a few more moves. It's still not perfect. At the end of this race, there was still a lot of gridlock 2x2x2 at the front. But unlike what we've seen in recent seasons, there were opportunities, at least in the top 5, top 6, to jump out of line, to find a partner, to make a move, to manage a gap. Haven't seen that consistently in the next gen car. I don't know what changed. I don't think anything really did change. There was a new flap on the A-post, but I don't think that made a difference unless the car spun out. So I don't know what the difference was tonight. Warm weather, nighttime? Was it simply strategy? Was it simply the slightly smaller pack after the huge? I don't know, but the racing tonight was the best we've seen at Daytona in years. I had a blast watching. I really did. It was a breath of fresh air. I almost felt relieved watching it. In a weird way, you'll notice I'm not at Daytona. I've been at Daytona probably the last half a dozen races, summer and spring. I love going to Daytona. Love the area, love the facility. I didn't go this year. I'm going to go to a couple other races here in the fall, some playoff races. I picked my schedule a little differently, but I just kind of said, I'm tired of Daytona. I know what it's going to be. It's going to be fuel saving for 2/3, go hard, gridlock. I'm tired of that. So I skipped Daytona this year. Now I'm regretting it. Joke's on me, I guess. The one Daytona race I skip and they go all out and it's crazy. Let's put this race on the groovy gauge. I may be a little bit bitter, but I'm frankly relieved that Daytona, NASCAR's biggest and brightest stage, finally delivered in prime time once again. I'll go 90% on the groovy gauge for this year's Coke Zero Sugar 400. Great looking crowd. I saw a report it was the largest summer Daytona crowd in 7 years. That's pretty great. Fantastic action, playoff drama down the stretch. Gosh, the more I think about it, where were they tonight? I think the 29th, 30th, and where's Custer? 34th place points guys entering this race were this close to winning their way into the playoffs. Goodness gracious, can you imagine what a Twitter would have been like? The pitchforks would have been out. Playoff format under scrutiny once again. And I would have been right there with you. I would have been leading the march, quite frankly. You know how I feel about winning you're in with no other rules. 90% on the groovy gauge. What a race. That's what Daytona NASCAR is. It's spectacle. Pulled some extra stunts during the pre-race as well. Humpy Wheeler looking down would have been proud, I'm sure. Fun night of NASCAR racing. Let me know what you thought of tonight's Coke Zero Sugar 400 down in the comment section below. I probably missed something, but I'm sorry, my head is still spinning. I can't get that image of 4 wide across the line out of my mind. Crazy, crazy stuff. Thank you for tuning in, folks. We'll have plenty more to talk about this coming week heading into the first playoff race, the Southern 500, I'm sure. For now, though, that's going to do it. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more NASCAR race reactions, news, rumors, interviews, and so much more every day, every week, all season long. Big thank you to my Patreon supporters as well. Have a great rest of your weekend, y'all. I will talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching.